Princess Sofia woke up to the sound of soft tapping on her window, something gentle and rhythmic, almost like tiny paws dancing against the glass. At first, she thought it might be her friend Robin the bird or maybe Clover trying a new morning trick. But when she opened the curtains, what she saw made her heart skip with surprise. Outside, sitting on the stone ledge beneath her window, was a small, fluffy puppy with warm brown fur, sparkling eyes, and the sweetest little wagging tail she had ever seen. The puppy tilted its head and let out a tiny woof, as if saying, "Good morning, Sophia." Sophia gasped, her excitement bubbling up instantly. "A puppy," she whispered to herself. She gently lifted the window, and the puppy, full of trust, hopped right into her arms. It snuggled against her chest, warm and soft like a living cloud. Sophia felt her heart melt. She had always loved animals, birds, rabbits, squirrels, but she had never had a dog before. And now one was right in her room, as if fate had brought them together. Clover, who had been napping at the end of Sophia's bed, woke up at the sound of her joyful giggles. He stretched his fluffy bunny legs and squinted his eyes. "What's all the noise? What is that?" he exclaimed, pointing at the puppy. The puppy barked happily at Clover, wagging its tail even faster. Clover hopped backward. "Oh no, no, no. That thing has big paws and bigger energy. Sophia, what if it tries to chase me?" Sophia laughed and placed the puppy on her bed. "Clover, don't worry. He's just a baby. Look at him, he's harmless." The puppy crawled closer to Clover and tried to lick him. Clover squeaked and jumped onto Sophia's shoulder. "See? It's already trying to eat me. Little tongues are dangerous." Sophia tried not to laugh too hard. "Clover, he's not eating you. He's being friendly." She picked up the puppy and hugged it again. "But where did you come from?" she asked softly. The puppy looked up at her with big, shiny eyes, but of course, without the amulet, she couldn't understand him. Sophia carefully set him down and hurried to where her amulet of Avalor. Once it glowed softly around her neck, she leaned down again. "Hello, little one," Sophia said gently. "Can you tell me how you got here?" The puppy barked once, then replied in a tiny voice that sounded excited but a little nervous too. "I got lost." Sophia's heart softened even more. She stroked its head. "It's okay. You're safe now." "Do you have a name?" she asked. "And no," the puppy said shyly. "Nobody ever gave me one." Sophia's eyes widened. "You don't have a name? Or an owner?" The puppy shook its fluffy head. "I lived near the village with other stray dogs. But I wandered too far last night, and I couldn't find my way home." Sophia felt a warm feeling in her chest, something protective, something loving. "Well, you're not alone anymore," she said softly. "I'll help you." Amber suddenly burst into the room. "Sophia," Mother said, "Oh my goodness, what is that?" she screeched, pointing dramatically at the puppy. The puppy barked, uncertain whether Amber was friendly or not. Amber stepped back. "Animals are fine, but dogs drool and jump and shed everywhere." "Sophia, did you really bring a whole puppy into the castle?" Sophia hugged the puppy closer. "Amber, he came to me. He's lost. I have to take care of him." Amber sighed dramatically. "Well, I suppose that's very Sophia-ish of you." She eyed the puppy carefully. "Just don't let him chew my shoes." Before Sophia could respond, Bailiwick knocked and entered. "Princess Sofia, Queen Miranda would like to see you and, His eyebrows shot up when he saw the puppy. "I see we have a new guest." Sophia stood up quickly. "Bailiwick, is it okay if I bring him to the Queen? I have to explain everything." Bailiwick nodded with a patient smile. "Of course, Princess. But please keep him from jumping on the royal carpets." Clover muttered, "Good luck with that." Sophia carried the puppy carefully through the castle halls. The puppy's nose twitched at every new scent, his tiny tongue hanging out with pure excitement. Everyone they passed, maids, guards, footmen, smiled warmly. Some gasped in surprise, some waved, and others whispered about the adorable new little visitor. When Sophia finally reached the throne room, Queen Miranda turned with a curious smile. "Sophia, Bailiwick told me you found something unusual this morning." Sophia gently stepped forward and revealed the puppy. Mom, this is a lost puppy. He came to my window, and he doesn't have a name or an owner. He's all alone. Queen Miranda's expression softened instantly. Oh, Sophia, he's precious. The puppy wiggled happily in her direction, and Miranda chuckled. He seems to like you already. Sophia took a deep breath. Mom, can we help him? Can he stay here? Just until we find out what to do. Miranda kneeled, petting the puppy. Sophia, taking care of a dog is a big responsibility. Dogs need training, patience, time, and lots of love. Sophia stood up straighter. I know, and I can do it. I promise. The Queen smiled gently. He can stay, at least until we know more about him. Sophia's heart leaped with joy. The puppy barked happily as if he understood everything. Clover peeked from behind Sophia's dress. Great, another animal in the castle. Just what we needed, he muttered, but he couldn't hide the tiny smile tugging at his whiskers. Sophia hugged the puppy close and whispered, Welcome to your new home, for as long as you need. Little did she know, this was only the beginning of their magical bond. The next morning, Princess Sofia woke up to the sound of soft paw taps across her bedroom floor. The little puppy, now named Patch because of a tiny brown spot over his left eye, had already been exploring the castle. His curious nose sniffed at the corners of the room, while his tiny tail wagged nonstop. Clover, who had been stretching lazily on the bed, groaned. Great! A puppy with boundless energy. This is going to be fun. Patch barked playfully at Clover, who hopped onto Sophia's shoulder to avoid a direct encounter. I knew it, Clover muttered. This puppy is trouble. Sophia laughed softly. Clover, he's not trouble. He just needs guidance. And care. And maybe some carrots. Patch barked happily, wagging his tail. Sophia picked him up and stroked his soft fur. Don't worry, Patch. We're going to teach you everything you need to know. You'll be the best puppy in all of Enchancia. Patch barked again, as if agreeing. Sophia decided it was time to introduce Patch to the rest of the castle animals. Clover followed reluctantly, while the little bunny muttered, I don't know why I agreed to be the official pet mentor. First, they visited Clover's favorite corner, where the rabbits often gathered. Patch sniffed curiously at them. The rabbits twitched their noses in caution but didn't make a fuss. Clover tried to act brave. Patch, be nice. You're a guest. Patch wagged his tail, giving the tiniest puppy bow. Next, they went to the garden, where birds were chirping, singing melodies in the morning sunlight. Patch tilted his head and barked softly at them, fascinated by the tiny flying creatures. The birds flitted around him, curious but cautious. Sophia giggled. Patch, look, they're friendly, just like you can be. Patch wagged his tail and hopped in excitement, almost tripping over his little paws. Sophia decided it was time for Patch's first lesson. She knelt in the soft grass and held out her hand. Patch, sit. Patch looked at her with his big brown eyes and cocked his head, unsure what she meant. Clover muttered from behind a bush, Oh, this is going to take forever. Sophia took a deep breath and smiled at Clover. Patience, Clover. He's learning. Patch barked excitedly and, by some lucky accident, plopped down on the grass. Good job. Sophia cheered. Patch wagged his tail furiously, clearly proud of himself. Clover blinked. Wait, that was skill? I guess. Sophia laughed. Yes, Clover. That was skill. Now let's teach him more. Over the next hour, Sophia taught Patch to sit, stay, and fetch a tiny ball she found in the castle's toy chest. Each time Patch did something right, Sophia clapped and cheered. Good boy, Patch. You're doing amazing. The puppy barked and rolled over, happy to please. Clover was still skeptical. I can't believe this, he's actually learning. By lunchtime, Patch was exhausted but thrilled. He had chased balls, sniffed flowers, met the rabbits and birds, and learned a few tricks. Sophia set up a small dog bed near her own so Patch could rest. You did so well today, she whispered, stroking his fur. Patch snuggled close to her, closing his eyes in contentment. Clover, still perched on Sophia's shoulder, muttered, I guess he's all right for a puppy. After lunch, Sophia and Patch took a walk around the castle courtyard. The sun was warm, the flowers were in full bloom, and the castle fountain sparkled like diamonds. Patch sniffed every corner, barked at a butterfly, and ran in little circles around Sophia's feet. Sophia laughed. "Patch, slow down. You'll make me dizzy." The puppy barked as if he was apologizing and then jumped into her arms again. During their walk, Sophia noticed a small group of village children near the castle gate. They waved excitedly at Patch. "Princess Sofia, is that your new puppy?" one of them asked. Patch barked happily and ran a few steps toward them before returning to Sophia's side. The children giggled. "He's adorable," they said. Sophia smiled. "Yes, he is. This is Patch. He's very young, and we're teaching him how to behave." The children clapped, clearly impressed. Patch's tail wagged furiously. He barked a few times and then tried to perform his new tricks for the children, sitting, staying, and fetching the small ball. The children laughed with delight. Sophia felt proud. Patch wasn't just learning, he was spreading happiness wherever he went. Clover, watching from a safe distance, muttered, "He's kinda cute." As the day went on, Sophia realized that having a dog was more work than she expected. Patch was full of energy, curious about everything, and a little mischievous. He tried to chew a slipper, dug small holes in the garden, and chased a few butterflies a little too enthusiastically. But despite all of this, Sophia couldn't help but feel her heart grow fonder for the little puppy. She knelt down and hugged Patch close. "I promise, Patch. I'll help you learn everything you need to know. And you'll be safe here in the castle with me and Clover." Patch barked happily and wagged his tail. Clover twitched his nose and sighed. "I give up. I guess this is officially my life now, sharing it with a puppy." Sophia giggled. "Clover, you'll be a great mentor. Patch can learn a lot from you." Clover glanced at Patch, who was already trying to chase a butterfly again. "We'll see," he muttered, shaking his head but smiling slightly. By sunset, Patch had learned a few basic tricks, met all the castle animals, and even made a few new friends among the villagers. Sophia tucked him into his little bed near her own, stroking his soft fur. "Good night, Patch," she whispered. "Tomorrow, we'll have even more adventures together." Patch yawned and snuggled closer, his tail wagging gently in his sleep. Clover, still on the edge of the bed, sighed and whispered, "I guess he's not so bad, maybe." As the castle grew quiet under the soft glow of the evening, Sophia looked down at Patch and smiled. She knew that having a dog was going to be an adventure filled with fun, learning, and love. And she couldn't wait to see what tomorrow would bring. The next morning, Princess Sofia woke to the sound of little paws tapping against her bedroom floor. Patch, her energetic new puppy, had already started exploring. Clover groaned from his usual perch on Sophia's shoulder. "Oh no, here we go again," he muttered, watching Patch sniff at the curtains, the rug, and the edge of the bed. Sophia laughed softly. "Clover, be patient. Patch is still learning. He's curious, that's all." Patch barked happily in agreement, then ran in a small circle before plopping down and rolling onto his back. "See," Sophia said. "All he needs is love, attention, and guidance." Clover twitched his whiskers. "Love and attention, sure. Guidance, not so sure about that." Sophia decided it was time for Patch's first real lesson outside the castle. She wanted him to learn how to behave in public and meet people politely. With Clover reluctantly following, she led Patch toward the village square, where the market stalls were already busy with merchants setting up their goods. Patch's nose twitched with excitement at all the new scents, fresh bread, flowers, and the salty tang of the nearby fountain. Sophia smiled. "Patch will go slow. Let's show you how to behave around others." Patch wagged his tail and barked softly, seemingly understanding. Clover muttered, "Yeah, right? Calm puppy in a marketplace? Good luck with that." As they walked, villagers noticed Patch immediately. Children ran over, pointing excitedly. "Princess Sofia, is that your new dog?" one shouted. Patch barked happily, then tried to jump into their arms. Sophia gently corrected him. "Patch, sit. Good boy. You can greet them politely." Patch sat obediently for a moment, then wagged his tail so hard it almost knocked him over. The children giggled and clapped. Sofia felt proud. Patch was learning quickly, and his excitement didn't stop him from being polite. She walked further into the village, introducing Patch to different villagers, bakers, gardeners, and even the blacksmith. Each person smiled and petted him, and Patch wagged his tail at everyone. "See, Clover?" Sofia said. "He's doing wonderfully." Clover twitched his ears skeptically. "For now, just wait till he meets the fountain." Patch was full of curiosity. When he spotted the village fountain, his puppy instincts kicked in. He barked, leapt, and splashed his paws in the water. Clover's eyes widened. "I warned you. That fountain is a disaster waiting to happen." Sofia quickly scooped Patch up, trying not to get soaked herself. "Patch, that's enough water for today." The puppy wagged his tail, seemingly proud of himself. Sofia couldn't help but giggle. "You really are something, Patch." After the fountain incident, Sofia guided Patch to a quiet park bench where they could rest. She stroked his soft fur while he panted happily, tongue lolling. Clover hopped down beside them. "Okay, maybe he's not terrible," he admitted grudgingly. Patch barked in response, as if thanking Clover for the compliment. Sofia smiled. "See? You two can get along if you try." After a short rest, Sofia decided it was time for Patch to meet another animal friend, a stray cat named Whiskers that sometimes roamed the castle gardens. Whiskers was sleek, cautious, and very proud of his independence. Patch approached slowly, tail wagging. Whiskers arched his back but didn't hiss. "Be gentle, Patch," Sofia whispered. Patch sat down, wagging his tail politely. Whiskers sniffed him and then, surprisingly, rubbed his head against Patch's side. Patch barked softly, delighted at the friendship forming. Clover twitched his nose. "I never thought I'd see the day when a dog and a cat got along," he muttered. Sofia watched, her heart full of joy. Patch wasn't just learning how to behave around humans. He was learning kindness and patience with other animals too. She knelt down and whispered, "You're a very special puppy, Patch. I'm proud of you." Patch barked again, leaning into her hand as if he understood every word. Later, while returning to the castle, Sofia noticed a small commotion near the market stall. A child had dropped a basket of apples, and the apples were rolling everywhere. Patch immediately ran over, barking to alert everyone. Clover watched in awe as Patch gently picked up one apple at a time with his mouth, nudging them back to the child. Sofia ran over, helping as well. "Patch, that was amazing." The child hugged Patch, giggling. "Thank you, little puppy." Patch wagged his tail proudly. Sofia smiled at Clover. "See? Helping others is part of being a great pet too." As they returned to the castle, Patch was exhausted but happy. Clover muttered quietly, "Oh, I admit it. He's got a good heart." Sofia nodded. "And tomorrow, we'll start teaching him even more tricks. You'll see, Clover, he's going to be the best dog ever." Patch barked, jumping into Sofia's arms and licking her cheek affectionately. Clover shook his head with a small smile. Maybe. But don't let him chew my ears." That night, as Sofia tucked Patch into his little bed next to hers, she whispered, "Good night, Patch. Today you learned about manners, friendship, and helping others. I'm proud of you. Tomorrow we'll have even more fun." Patch yawned, curling into a tiny ball, tail wagging gently in his sleep. Clover, watching from the edge of the bed, muttered, "I guess I'm officially part of this dog's training committee." Sofia smiled. "You're the perfect teacher, Clover." Clover just twitched his nose and rolled his eyes, but even he had to admit, Patch was making their days brighter. And so, Sofia, Patch, and Clover drifted off to sleep, ready for the next day of adventures, training, and heartwarming moments. The morning sun streamed through the tall castle windows, waking Princess Sofia with a soft golden glow. Patch, her energetic little puppy, had already been exploring the room, sniffing at the rug and chasing his tail in little circles. Clover, still perched on Sofia's shoulder, muttered groggily, "Another morning of chaos, thanks to that bouncing fur ball." Sofia giggled softly. "Clover, be patient. Patch is learning." He's full of energy, and we can use that to our advantage. Patch barked as if agreeing, wagging his tail furiously and almost knocking over a vase of flowers in the process. After breakfast, Sophia decided it was time for Patch's next lesson, obedience in motion. She led him to the castle courtyard, which was bright and filled with morning dew. "Patch," she said gently, "today we'll practice walking on a leash and following directions. Are you ready?" Patch barked happily and ran in small circles, clearly excited for the new activity. Clover twitched his nose and muttered, "Walking on a leash, this will be interesting." Sophia clipped the small golden leash to Patch's collar and gently guided him to the stone pathway. At first, Patch darted in all directions, sniffing every corner, trying to chase birds, and hopping over flowers. "Patch, no," Sophia said, gently tugging the leash. Clover watched, wide-eyed. "Whoa, he's like a furry tornado." But Sophia smiled patiently. "It's okay, Clover. He's learning." Step by step, Patch began to understand. Sophia used soft words, gentle pats, and occasional treats to guide him. "Good boy, Patch," she cheered. "Yes, that's perfect." Patch wagged his tail excitedly every time he obeyed a command. Clover twitched his whiskers in surprise. "I guess he's learning faster than I thought." After the courtyard, Sophia decided it was time to introduce Patch to other castle pets outside the garden. They headed to the stables, where the horses were stretching and munching hay. Patch approached cautiously, sniffing the ground. One of the horses, a large white mare named Sparkle, lowered her head. Patch barked softly, wagging his tail. Clover whispered, "Oh, don't let him chase them." Patch just sniffed Sparkle's hooves, then gave a little playful bark. Sophia patted him on the head. "Good boy, Patch. You're being so gentle." The mare nuzzled him lightly, accepting him as a friend. Clover muttered, "Okay, that's actually impressive." Next, Sophia led Patch to the castle's kitchen area, where chefs were preparing fresh bread and pastries. Patch's nose twitched, taking in all the delicious smells. Sophia reminded him, "Patch, no stealing food. Good boys wait patiently." Patch barked and sat politely while the chefs giggled at the sight. Clover sighed, "This is definitely more challenging than I thought. Teaching a puppy manners takes serious patience." After a few hours of structured practice, Sophia decided it was time for fun and play. She brought Patch to the castle gardens, where they played fetch with a small ball. Patch ran, leaped, and chased with enthusiasm, finally bringing the ball back to Sophia. "Good boy, Patch," she cheered. Clover watched, shaking his head with a small smile. "I'll admit it, he's having fun and actually learning. I can't believe I'm saying this." As the afternoon sun began to lower, Sophia noticed a small commotion near the castle gate. A little boy from the village had dropped his basket of apples, and they were rolling everywhere. Without hesitation, Patch ran over and began helping, carefully nudging the apples back toward the boy. Sophia ran over to help as well, clapping her hands. "Patch, that was amazing." The boy hugged Patch, giggling. "Thank you, little puppy." Patch wagged his tail proudly, clearly thrilled to help. Clover whispered softly, "He's not just learning tricks, he's learning to care about others." Sophia realized that Patch was not only learning obedience, but also the most important lessons a pet could learn: patience, kindness, and understanding. She knelt down and whispered to him, "Patch, you're going to be an amazing dog. Everyone will love you because you have a good heart, not just because you can do tricks." Patch barked softly, resting his head against Sophia's hand. When they returned to the castle in the evening, Patch was exhausted but happy. Sophia set up a small cozy bed near hers for him. Clover flopped down on a nearby chair, sighing. "I guess my work here isn't so bad after all. He's actually pretty great." Sophia smiled at both of them. "You two will be the best of friends, I just know it." As Sophia tucked Patch into his bed, she whispered, "Tomorrow we'll have even more adventures, Patch. You're learning so much already, and I'm so proud of you." Patch curled into a tiny ball, tail wagging gently even in sleep. Clover twitched his nose, shaking his head, but there was a small smile on his face. Princess Sofia looked at both of her animal companions, her heart full of love and pride. With Patch learning, Clover teaching, and herself guiding, she knew that this was the beginning of a wonderful journey. And she couldn't wait to see all the amazing adventures and lessons that tomorrow would bring. The next morning, Princess Sofia awoke to the soft tapping of tiny paws on her bedroom floor. Patch, her little brown puppy, had already begun exploring again, sniffing every corner with the boundless curiosity only a young dog could have. Clover, ever the cautious companion, watched from Sofia's shoulder. "Another day of chaos," he muttered. "I give up. I'm officially part of this puppy's entourage." Sofia laughed softly. "Clover, be patient. Patch is learning, and today will help him take a big step forward." Patch barked happily, as if agreeing, wagging his tail so hard it almost knocked over a small vase. Sofia had planned a special day for Patch. Today would be his first real adventure outside the castle, where he could meet more of the villagers and experience the world beyond the courtyard. She clipped the leash onto his collar, and Patch immediately bounded with excitement. Clover twitched his whiskers nervously. "Let's just hope he doesn't run into the market again. I'm not cleaning up apples this time." Their first stop was the village square, bustling with merchants, children, and animals. Patch's nose twitched at the endless smells, from fresh bread to flowers, and his ears perked at every sound. Sofia gently guided him along the cobblestone path. "Patch, stay close," she said. "Good boy." Patch barked softly, trotting happily beside her. Clover glanced around and muttered, Not bad. He's listening so far." The villagers noticed Patch immediately, and children ran to greet him. "Princess Sofia, is that your puppy?" they asked excitedly. Patch wagged his tail furiously and barked in delight. Sofia knelt down, letting him greet the children politely. "Patch, sit," she commanded. Patch sat perfectly, wagging his tail. The children clapped and laughed. Clover blinked. "I'll be." He actually obeyed a command in public. Sofia's next lesson was greeting strangers politely. She introduced Patch to a few villagers, showing him how to sniff politely and remain calm. Patch barked and wagged his tail, clearly enjoying the attention, while Clover muttered, "I can't believe I'm impressed. He's actually behaving." After the lesson, Sofia led Patch to the fountain in the town square, a place full of water, ducks, and a few adventurous squirrels. Patch's eyes lit up, and he bounced toward it, his little paws splashing in the shallow water. "Patch!" Sofia exclaimed, rushing to scoop him up. "Remember, gentle, we don't want a soaked princess." Patch barked softly and wagged his tail, clearly pleased with himself. Clover twitched his nose. "Little water demon," he muttered, though he was secretly amused. Later, as they walked past the market stalls, they saw a young girl struggling with a basket of apples that had tipped over. Apples were rolling in every direction. Without hesitation, Patch ran to help. Carefully, he picked up apples with his tiny mouth and nudged them back into the basket. Sofia and Clover helped as well. The girl's eyes widened. "Thank you, little puppy," she said, giggling. Patch wagged his tail proudly, clearly pleased with the praise. Clover whispered, "I have to admit it. That was impressive. He's learning more than I thought." As the sun climbed higher, Sofia decided to introduce Patch to Whiskers, the castle cat who was always sleek, independent, and cautious around new animals. Patch approached carefully, tail wagging politely. Whiskers arched his back slightly but didn't hiss. Patch sat down quietly, demonstrating patience. Whiskers sniffed him, then surprisingly rubbed his head against Patch's side. Patch barked softly in delight. Clover shook his head in disbelief. A puppy and a cat, actually becoming friends. "Never thought I'd see the day." Sofia smiled warmly. "See, Clover? Patience, kindness, and gentle behavior go a long way." Patch barked softly, leaning into her hand. The puppy's eyes sparkled with pride and happiness, knowing he was doing something right. By afternoon, Sofia decided it was time for a final lesson, obedience during play. She and Patch went to the castle gardens where he practiced fetching small balls, balancing over soft logs, and even jumping gently over tiny obstacles. Each time he obeyed, Sofia cheered. "Good boy, Patch." You're doing amazing. Patch wagged his tail and barked in excitement. Clover watched from the side, muttering, "Fine. He's actually talented in more ways than I thought." As the day ended, Patch was tired but happy, resting on his little bed next to Sophia. Clover flopped onto a chair nearby, twitched his nose and whispered, "I suppose he's all right." Sophia smiled at her two companions. "Tomorrow, we'll have even more adventures, Patch. You're learning quickly and I'm so proud of you." Patch curled into a tiny ball, tail wagging gently even as he slept, while Clover twitched his nose with a small smile. Princess Sofia looked at her two animal friends with a heart full of joy. Patch had learned obedience, patience, kindness, and even the importance of helping others. Clover had been a loyal teacher and protector, and Sophia realized that their bond, between her, Patch, and Clover, was more than just friendship, it was a family. With the castle quiet and the sun setting over Enchancia, Sophia whispered softly to Patch, "You're my first dog, Patch, and I promise to take care of you always. Together, we'll have so many adventures, and you'll grow into the most wonderful dog anyone could wish for." Patch barked softly in agreement, curling closer to her. Clover sighed and muttered, "I guess life with a puppy isn't so bad after all." That night, Sophia, Patch, and Clover drifted off to sleep, dreaming of new adventures, playful lessons, and the happiness that comes from friendship, love, and caring for those who depend on you. And thus began the magical journey of Sophia and her very first dog, Patch, in the enchanting world of the castle, where every day promised learning, laughter, and the joy of companionship.